Hey, it's Cornelis from Your Band is a Business. In my previous weekly vlog, I mentioned that I've updated my artist bio, and the reason is because I'm releasing new music. I believe that whenever you release new music, you are developing your career as an artist, and that is a great opportunity to update the story that you're telling about yourself. Remember, we are not writing biographies from the point of view of the end of our lives or the end of our careers. No, we are still experiencing our career, so it makes sense to update it as we go along. And when you are contacting radio stations or blogs, they want the latest updated story to go along with the new music. So what I will do is I will read through my current bio. I will talk about the thought process I had behind what I've written, what I'm trying to communicate, and then I will give you a structure so that you can write your own bio. And as well as that, I will give you some things to keep in mind when you are writing it, so that you are communicating the things that you want to about yourself as an artist. Okay, so let me read it. True stories plus living music, that's the headline. Cornelis is a Dutch-Irish indie rock artist based in North London that writes songs about daily life in gritty and glorious detail. Whether aggressive, introspective, silly or serious, Cornelis tells the true stories we all recognise from our own lives. Despite failing music in school, Cornelis learned to play the guitar with the ambition to write his own songs. After moving to London, he immersed himself in the local music scene and found the experience of living in the city provided ample inspiration for writing lyrics. Cornelis combines lyrical storytelling in the tradition of artists like The Streets and Jarvis Cocker with diverse musical influences ranging from rock, jazz and hip-hop to new wave and post-punk. Releasing both a trap and jazz version of Broken exemplifies his motto, true stories plus living music. His debut EP, What Else, showcased his skill as a punk and indie rock songwriter, while the One Track Mind EP, created during the pandemic lockdowns, has been said to have created the grunge beats and synth punk genres. But whatever the musical expression, the constant is always Cornelis' distinctive lyrics and songwriting style. Cornelis is currently in the process of releasing music from an as-yet untitled 6-song project, which sees him return to his rock roots, but this time with subtle new wave, disco punk and post-punk influences. The remaining singles are set to be released across 2024. Okay, so that's the bio. So I start with a headline, True Stories plus Living Music, which is my tagline or slogan or motto, whatever you want to call it. As you know, on social media, often you don't have much space to put something, so I decided I wanted to have a tagline that I felt would sum me up as an artist, and that would give enough information about me, but also create some intrigue. So True Stories plus Living Music, I feel sums me up at the moment anyway. True Stories reflects my core value as an artist, which is the truth. I believe that as an artist it's really useful to get really clear about what your core values or core value is as an artist, and that helps so much with writing bios or the aesthetics of the graphics that you use on social media or the artwork for your albums and singles and all that kind of stuff. It's really important, and I've made videos about the importance of discovering your values as an artist, so go check those out. Stories is related to the fact that I like to tell stories with my lyrics, and one of the most consistent compliments I get about my songwriting is the fact that I'm telling stories. So True Stories really sums up that aspect of myself as an artist. The living music part of this tagline is a way for me to pre-frame or give context to the fact that I release music across different genres. Now, this topic of whether or not to release music across different genres as an artist or a band is a big topic. We can go and have a big discussion about that. Believe me, I understand the pros and cons of doing that, but the reality is that I have released music across different genres because I want to, but also out of necessity. Because of the pandemic lockdowns, I had to make music on my own. I couldn't work with a bassist or a drummer or anything like that, so I released music that I created myself, and I decided I'm not going to do it as a side project. I'm going to release it as Cornelis Gerard. So yeah, it happened. It's done. I'm doing it. As I said, I understand the pros and cons. We'll talk about that in another video. If you want me to talk about it, leave a comment. But I know there are some negative preconceptions about doing this. Oh, this artist doesn't know who they are, what they want to be. So I'm trying to get ahead of that. I'm trying to provide context to that. I'm trying to pre-frame that by calling it living music. I'm saying, no, I'm not a multi-genre artist. I'm creating living music, and I will, in the course of the rest of this bio, you will see how I fill out this idea of living music. So at the moment, true stories plus living music, you might think, okay, what exactly does he mean by that? And by reading the bio, you will learn more about that, and hopefully then you can go away, and if somebody asks you about me as an artist, so tell me about this Cornelis Gerard guy, then you might say true stories plus living music or something to that effect. Okay, so the first paragraph is really important because often blogs, radio stations, they want a short bio. They want a single paragraph that they can just read out. And so in that first paragraph, it's really good to just sum up as much as you can in a short, succinct way. So Cornelis is a Dutch-Irish indie rock artist based in North London that writes songs about daily life in gritty and glorious detail. Even that first sentence, I think, really sums me up. So obviously, a lot of people, when they hear the name Cornelis, they think, okay, where does that name come from? So I'm telling you straight away about my background, the fact that I'm half Dutch, half Irish. So that is immediately giving you an indication. Okay, Cornelis, it probably has something to do with his background, right? I say I'm an indie rock artist. Now, I said, okay, I released music across different genres, and I released this whole EP that was completely outside of my core genre, but I do want to have something to kind of focus on, to build this bio around. And especially now that I'm releasing this new project, which is a return to guitar focused music, now is the time to refocus on that. So that's one of the edits that I've made compared to the previous bio, is where I've inserted the fact that I'm an indie rock artist, and that is the core genre that I'm focused around in terms of the music that I'm releasing right now, in terms of the shows that I want to play with my band. So yeah, I really want to focus back around that. Then I say North London. Now, I don't say London in general because at the moment a lot of the people that are discovering me are based in London in terms of blogs, radio stations, other artists, promoters. So this just gives an extra bit of context to where I am in London. In North London, there's the Camden scene. People know about that. And there are other scenes in London, in Southeast, around Peckham and Brixton. And this just provides a bit more context to people that are based in London. So that's why I've written North London. And then, yeah, write songs about daily life in gritty and glorious detail. And so in this first paragraph, I'm really bringing focus and attention to the fact that I'm a storyteller. Whether aggressive, introspective, silly, or serious, Cornelis tells the true stories we all recognize from our own lives. So I am saying here, look, I'm a storyteller, and I tell stories about the different emotions and experiences that everyday, regular people experience. So I'm not an artist who is living some artistic life that the average person cannot identify with, which is I'm not a knock on that type of artist. That's a really interesting perspective to take as an artist, but that's not what I'm doing, right? So I feel in this first paragraph I'm really summing myself up as an artist, and hopefully anybody who reads that or reads it on air, for a listener, they will get the core idea that I'm trying to bring us across about myself as an artist. But then in the rest of the bio, I can go into more detail and provide more context for the people that are interested. So let's continue. In this next paragraph, I go back in time. So the first paragraph is, hey, this is Cornelis, this is who he is. The second paragraph goes back in time. So, okay, what who is this person? Where does he come from? How did he end up where he is today? So it's a flashback, as it were. Despite failing music in school, Cornelis learned to play the guitar with the ambition to write his own songs. So this is something that I often talk about, and I'm not saying this from a woe is me, feel sorry for me perspective, not at all. It's just the reality of my situation. And the reason I want to highlight it is because so many artists and bands, they talk about how they grew up in a situation where they were surrounded by music, and maybe their parents played musical instruments, or they were friends with artists and they did really well on instruments from a young age, and everybody thought, okay, this child is talented, and it's almost like they were destined to become a famous artist, right? And a lot of people like the idea of predestination. It's in so many of our stories that we've been telling since thousands of years ago, right up until the movies and the books that we consume nowadays. This idea of the chosen one, right? We love that idea as in our culture, but that is not the reality of my situation, and I lean into that and I say, look, I'm not like those other musicians. Nobody in my family plays a musical instrument. In my extended family, I have an aunt and an uncle that play the piano, but I've never touched it. So I was not surrounded by music. Nobody thought, oh, this guy's really talented in music. I failed music in school, right? So I'm leaning into that to set myself apart from a lot of other artists out there. But I say I taught myself how to, I learned to play the guitar, and my ambition was to write songs. The next part of the story is me moving to London and immersing myself in the music scene. And again, I talk about living in the city, how that provided inspiration for writing lyrics. So one of the reasons I really focus on my lyric writing, obviously, as I said earlier, is that it's something that people notice about me, but I have to be honest with myself that I don't have the most beautiful voice. When people listen to my music, they don't think, oh, this guy's like Jeff Buckley, right? I don't have that beautiful voice. My voice suits the genre that I make music in, or the genres that I make music in. But I don't really think that people will listen to my music for the quality of my singing voice. I sing fine. I think I can write some catchy songs, so I'm good at coming up with melodies. But by focusing on the lyrics, my intention is so that when people listen to my music, they come at it with the right focus, so that they will listen to the song and focus on the lyrics. If I wrote in my bio how big of a fan I am of Jeff Buckley, then people will think, oh wow, this guy loves Jeff Buckley. I wonder, is he, how good of a singer is he? And then they'll listen to my music and they'll think, okay, this guy sounds nothing like Jeff Buckley at all. He's not even in the same universe as Jeff Buckley. And that will then, they might then have a negative opinion of what they're hearing. I love Jeff Buckley, but I'm not going to mention him as somebody that I'm inspired or influenced by, because as I said, people will then come to my music with the wrong reference, with the wrong frame of mind. So that's why I keep focusing on the lyrics. So the next paragraph, I go. This is where I'm pre-framing and giving context. So Cornelis combines lyrical storytelling in the tradition of artists like the Streets and Jarvis Cocker. So the Streets is I guess you could say, is a rapper based in the UK, a UK rapper who came up in the 2000s, I think it is. And he is well known for the stories that he tells in his songs. In fact, he released whole concept albums that told a story from start to finish, which is that's fascinating. And Jarvis Cocker is the singer of the band Pulp, which is a Brit-pop band. Well, they got started before Brit-pop was a thing, but they really became popular during the Brit-pop era. So the 90s, mid to late 90s, together with bands like Oasis and Blur. Like I said, they actually got started like ages before that, but they definitely became popular during that time. And yeah, their songs are well known for telling stories. So I am picking out those two artists. Like most of you guys, I have so many bands and artists that I love from all kinds of genres, and I have take influence from all of them. But when you talk about yourself, you have to be careful about which influences you cite, because as I said, people will hear that, and then when they listen to your music, they will keep that in the back of their mind. So by me saying The Streets and Jarvis Cocker, I'm trying to plant in the reader's mind, okay, I'm not going to listen to this music with the idea that it's going to be a beautiful singing voice. I'm going to listen to it from the perspective, okay, what stories is he going to tell? Now here I say, okay, diverse musical influences range from rock, jazz, hip-hop to new wave and post-punk. Again, I understand whether it's a good thing or not to say, oh, I'm influenced by all genres, but the fact is that I have released a jazz song, and I will release another jazz song. I've released a whole EP that consists of hip-hop and trap-influenced beats, right? And the music that I'm releasing right now has these new wave and post-punk influences. So it is the reality of the music that I've released. Now, in the next sentence, I try to rein all that in and focus it, because it's one, again, like I said, it can be perceived as a negative thing to say, oh, I'm influenced by everything. So the next sentence is really important. Releasing both a trap and jazz version of Broken exemplifies his motto, true stories plus living music. So with that sentence, I'm saying, look, there's this concrete example where I released two different versions of a song. There's a trap version, and then there's a jazz version that uses live instruments and a trumpet. In a previous version of the bio, I actually mentioned the trumpet player that plays on it, because he's like within the jazz world, he is a professional jazz trumpet player. But I didn't, I was running out of character, so in the end I removed that. But with this single sentence, I'm saying, look, here's a concrete example where I released a song that in two different versions, and this exemplifies the motto, true stories plus living music. So here I'm saying this is what living music means. In the previous paragraphs, you get the sense what true stories means. I've mentioned it several times: storytelling, lyrical storytelling, the true experiences of day-to-day life. So you should by now understand what true stories means. Living music, I've now told you what that means. It means that I'm doing different genres, and I'm not afraid to re-record a song in a different version. And going forward in my career, I want to do more of this. I want to obviously release live versions of songs, and the live version might be different, or probably will be different from the recorded version. I want to again re-record songs in different styles, and I really want to lean into this living music aspect. Okay, and the next paragraph, I talk about the actual projects that I've released. So I say, okay, first I released this EP called What Else, which was punk and indie rock. I also, for me, it has some, I guess, what you would call college rock influences, stuff like that. But again, you only have so many characters, right? So I say that it showcased my skill as a punk and indie rock songwriter. Then I talk about the One Track Mind EP, which was created during the pandemic lockdowns. I think it's important just to slip that in there, because it gives context. A lot of people understand, okay, the normal situation did not apply. People could not rehearse with other musicians. They couldn't record with other musicians. So by saying that, it gives a lot of context for people. They understand, okay, during the lockdown, he decided to do something else. So I say that's when I created the One Track Mind EP, and I explained that I wrote songs in the grunge beat style and the synth punk style. And then again, I try to tie it up. I say, but whatever the musical expression, the constant is always Cornelis's distinctive lyrics and songwriting style. So I'm saying, okay, yes, he might try these different genres, but don't forget the lyrics, don't forget the songwriting style. I'm trying to tie it back. So as you see, multiple times within this bio, I'm trying to tie back to this tagline, True Stories, Living Music. So as I said, by the end of it, you should have a deeper understanding of what that tagline means. And then finally, I end with a paragraph about what's happening right now and what's happening in the future. So Cornelis is currently in the process of releasing music from an as yet untitled 6-song project. So the way that I work, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, this is just the way that I do it. I will record songs or create songs in batches, then I release them as singles, and once I've finished releasing those singles, I then decide what that project was, and I will tie it up and give it a name. So the way, I retrospectively will name the project. So at the moment, I don't know what the name of the project is. So I'm not saying this is a good thing to do, but the reality is that is how I do it. And so I say I'm returning to my rock roots. Again, I want to bring focus to what I believe is my core genre, and I'm saying this is what I'm really about. So rock roots. And then I say, but this time with subtle new wave, disco punk and post-punk influences. And when it comes to the genre of music that you're making, it's so hard to put words to use words to describe music. I think Frank Zappa famously said that it's like dancing about architecture when you review or describe music. But I do think it's important because, again, as I've mentioned before, the words that you describe can influence how people will come to your music. Nobody comes to your music with a completely blank mind. They always come with preconceived ideas and expectations, and those are based on the way that you look, how you dress, how you present yourself on social media, the graphic design that you employ. All those things create preconceived ideas, and how you describe yourself in your bio, how you talk about yourself in interviews, all go towards a pre-framing how people will arrive at your music. So but I not to say that I just made these things up. I do believe that in my songs. So Don't Be Jealous definitely has a new wave influence from a band like Blondie, for example, and my next single, Lucky for Some, definitely has disco punk and post-punk influences in terms of like the prominence put on the focus and importance of the rhythm section, so the percussion and the bass playing. So I haven't just pulled this out of thin air, but on the other hand, I am aware that these genres are really in the ascendance at the moment. There are a lot of upcoming popular bands that you could describe as post-punk or disco punk. So I'm really leaning into that. So when people listen to the music, they will have that in the back of their mind. And then the final sentence, the remaining singles are set to be released across 2024. So I'm saying, look, there's more music on the way, and it's happening this year. And that and including the year, I think, is important because whoever reads this will realize, okay, this is happening right now. Cornelis Gerard is an artist that is active right now. It's not something that, did this happen years ago? No, it's happening right now. So that is important as well. Okay, so that's my bio. Now I've done many iterations over the years. Each time I update it and change it, and I really think about every word because you only have so many characters. So I think about every word, every sentence, and this comes from my copywriting experience. I've been working in digital marketing for quite a few years now, so this is something that I think about a lot, and I try to bring all that experience to bear when I'm writing my bio. So I could literally talk about every single word that is in this bio, but maybe I will leave that for another video where I go talk about copywriting for musicians. If you are interested in that, then leave a comment and I could totally do that. Now this outline that I have to help you write your own bio, it's kind of, just a quick short framework. I could go into very great depth about this, but again, if you are interested in that, let me know. For now, let's just use this short framework, and hopefully that will get you on your way to writing your own bio. Now, the first thing you need to get clear on is what your values are as an artist. This is something that I think is really important to think about. I even create there's a course that I've created, which you can find. It's linked below. It's called the Brand Discovery System, and one of the most important things in that is discovering your values. But if you just want a quick way to figure that out for yourself, just ask yourself, what is the most important thing for you that motivates you to create and put out music? And just really dig into that question, have a think about that for yourself, and once you've discovered that, write that down, and that will be the core value that you will try to communicate in your bio. And as you can see, I keep coming back to that several times. I talk about the true stories and the real experiences, just to reiterate that value over and over again. The second thing to think about is, how do you want people to perceive you as an artist? So what genre do you want people to perceive you as belonging to? Do you want people to perceive you as a down-to-earth, regular, everyday person, or perhaps an artist who's living in his own crazy artistic world? Do you want them to think of you somebody that is very politically active, or somebody that is an artist that is really in touch with really deep, strong emotions? Or do you want to be an artist that is perceived as more light-hearted and fun? There's all kinds of things, ways that you can be perceived as an artist. And if you don't know how you want to be perceived, then think about some of your favorite artists and who you think you would like to emulate from that point of view. So once you have those two things in place, the thing to keep in mind then is, remember the framing and context, and so as you're writing, think about how the artists that you reference as influences, okay, how are they going to communicate your values? How will they communicate how will they affect how you are perceived as an artist? Remember what I said about Jeff Buckley. I love Jeff Buckley. Maybe he is an influence in some way, but if I don't say that, because then people will expect a beautiful voice when they hear my music. So I'm always remembering the framing and the context. So when I give examples of artists that I'm influenced by, I mention artists that will plant the right seeds in people's minds when they come to listen to my music. Almost every single word in this bio has been chosen in order to set people up with the right expectations for when they listen to my music. So those are the things you need to keep in mind. And then the final thing I would say when writing your bio is to tell a story. So what is your background? Where are you from? Not just literally where you were born, but your musical background. So what inspired you to pick up an instrument and write and create music? Who were your influences? What was the journey from not being able to make music to making music and gaining a following? What was that process like? That is what I call your background. What is your background? Where are you from? Where did you come from? Not just literally and physically, but as an artist. Then what have you done? So what songs have you put out? What concerts and tours have you done? Who has written about you? Or what magazine has written about you? What blog have you been featured on? What YouTube channel has reviewed you? Talk about the concrete stuff that you have actually done. And the final part that you should cover is where you are going. So what's in store next? What's happening right now? What music are you releasing? What tour are you going on? Who are you supporting at a what gig are you playing where you're supporting a bigger artist, or maybe you're headlining? What radio show are you going to appear on, or what YouTube channel? Talk about all the exciting stuff that is happening right now and is coming in the future. So that is just a basic outline to help you write your own artist bio. As I said, I could go into much greater detail about this topic and about copywriting, but if you are interested in that, let me know in the comments and I will do that for sure. If you want to know about your brand value, your artist values, then definitely check out my brand discovery system, which is linked below. And yeah, I think that's it for now. If you have gotten anything out of this, let me know in the comments. If you want to know more, definitely ask questions below and let me know how it goes with writing your own bio, or leave a link to the bio that you've made already and I'll have a look at it and I'll give you some of my opinions. Okay, that's it for now. I'll speak to you guys next time.